I agree with you completely. Yeah. And they said the hell with it to the tune of giving up. Like you mentioned, they're not even getting a pick in this year's draft. They're actually giving up a pick in this year's draft. It's insane. When I saw the terms yesterday, it's like, this has to be wrong.
Right?
This has to be wrong.
I looked twice, too.
The Texans are getting Diggs and Buffalo's 6th-round pick this year and a 5th-round pick next year. Are we sure that's not flipped around? I thought it was a 5 this year and a 6 next year. But again, the whole thing is confusing because the Bills are giving up multiple picks in addition to Diggs, and they get back a 2nd-round pick next year. The one that they got from Minnesota, the Texans got it as part of the trade from a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
that resulted in the Vikings picking up the 23rd overall pick.
Yeah, it's it's incredible. To me, this is the most incredible part of the whole conversation. This is the thing I think that sent shockwaves around the NFL. That I really do. To just go, oh my gosh, a player like that, again, like we said, we talk about the Bills needing receivers really for the last 2 years. They lost Gabe Davis in free agency, right? Now Diggs is gone, right? They got Khalil Shakir. They got Matt Collins we talked about. They got 2 tight ends. All of that, that's all they're going. Those 2 receivers, those 2 tight ends, they got no other proven commodity at receiver that you can go, ooh, they can build the offense around. I know they got Curtis Samuel. Okay, he's good, but that's like a number 3, right? So that's where I think I was shocked, and I think the whole NFL is shocked to what you're saying of looking at it going, what? They're getting a 2nd-rounder next year, and they're paying a $31 million cap charge? Like, holy crap, they wanted to get rid of him. Holy crap, there was no way he was going to be allowed on the team. And from what I do know, right, is that he was allowed to seek a trade from anybody in the league except the Kansas City Chiefs, Mike. That's what I've been told by multiple people, that he was allowed to do that. Wow. The Chiefs were the only team they weren't going to trade for him. Because, like, to your point, too, I mean, they traded him to a team who's in the playoffs last year and is like we're going to go over it to win a Super Bowl, and they're competing against them. That even adds to that. $31 million dead money, a 2nd-rounder next year, and it's a team we're in, like, big-time competition with. I mean, that tells you how much they were done with him.
Well, they clearly were done, and they were concerned. See, that's the thing. We've talked about this many times. Teams would always like a guy to get his wake-up call while with them.
Yeah, right.
You don't want the guy to get the wake-up call. Back to Chris Carter, before he went to Minnesota, when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, he needed a wake-up call for reasons unrelated to personality. This was a off-field substance abuse issue. All he does is catch touchdowns. He gets waived. He actually wanted to go to the Giants in 1990. The Vikings claimed him on waivers. They had priority in that process, but that was the wake-up call he needed.
To Chris Carter? Damn, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, it would have been just for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But he would have won a Super Bowl with the Giants in 1990.
Right.
But the point is, you want that. See, they fear. The fact that they took the Chiefs off the list tells me they fear he's going to go somewhere and become the guy they've been trying to coax him into being.
Yeah, sure.
That Mahomes maybe would have done it. That Andy Reid maybe would have done it. That they would have succeeded where the Bills failed.
Right.
And he's got extra motivation to do it because he's competing directly with the team that he was with that can't get past the Kansas City Chiefs. Now he gets a chance to compete with both the Chiefs and the Bills in Houston. I want to, we'll talk about this later, but the schedule of the Houston Texans suddenly becomes must-see TV almost every week, and we're going to take a closer look at that. We'll do that later. For now, here's Brandon Beane from yesterday talking about this question of whether or not Stefon Diggs actually asked to be traded. Here he is.
Did Diggs' camp ask to be traded?
Yeah, no, I would like to leave it that, we've always had good discussions. Adisa Bakari's his agent, very good relationship with Adisa. I've known him for a number of years, very good agent. And he and I have always had a great relationship of dialogue about everything. And so, and that's continued every year that Steph's been here. And, I'm sure it'll continue as long as we have any players that he represents here going forward. That's probably the best way I would like to leave it.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's all very discreet and it's very careful, and that's the key. Adisa Bakari has other players. That's one of the reasons why you have to be very sensitive as to how these relationships end, because you're going to continue to work with that agent.
Right.
And if you do something that is problematic from the perspective of the agent, that affects other negotiations. That might affect the willingness of other players to come to your team because they're getting poisoned by the agent.
Right.
And remember last year, I mean, they put Adisa Bakari in a tough spot when they created the impression that Stefon Diggs stormed out and disappeared during mandatory minicamp before they backed up and said, oh, well, yeah, we told him to go. Fairly key fact that we omitted.
Seriously.
When we first addressed this.
Seriously.
He left. We're concerned. Oh, yeah, we told him to go. So that was really the moment that we knew that there was
real issues.
An expiration date that might have already passed on this relationship, and here we are.
Yeah.
The aftermath, of course, is going to be Stefon Diggs saying positive things on his way out the door, which is fine. Now that the relationship's over, there's no point in making it worse. There's no point in getting people in Buffalo pissed off at you. You're still going to eventually go back there, presumably at some point in play. You don't want to be the pariah on the way out the door. Diggs said on social media, I can't begin to express the amount of love and respect I have for the city of Buffalo. 4 of the best years of my life. The city welcomed me with open arms. I'm forever grateful to you all and the Buffalo Bills organization. Something special was built over these years with some very special men that will always have a place in my heart. Bills Mafia, so many great memories created throughout the years. Those games were crazy because of you. Sadly, good things come to an end until we meet again. And they will meet again this season in Houston, among other very compelling games on the Texans' schedule, thanks to this trade. And even before this trade, I hadn't really focused on the Texans' schedule, but boy. Now I know why they're going out there and acquiring all this veteran talent. They need it when you look at the teams they're going to play this year, including the Buffalo Bills, including the Kansas City Chiefs, including the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys. They have a very tough schedule, and it becomes very interesting now, Chris, when we consider, as the NFL puts the 272 game configuration together, we'll get it next month. Last year the Texans benefited from 1 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Eastern all year long until the very end. They're going to be in prime time a lot this year.
Yeah, well, they should be. We know they're a talented football team. They got a quarterback that's already in the conversation of one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. He's young. He took the league by storm. They've made major moves in free agency. We haven't even gotten to the draft yet, and, I know they don't have a ton of picks because of moves they made last year, but, yeah, everything's looking on the up and up, except that, now you got expectations, a little bit of a bullseye on your back. You won the AFC South. You're going to play a number 1 schedule, and it's going to be tough, no doubt, and that's probably why they looked at it and went, wait, we need to make a move and get another receiver here and get some firepower for our offense and try to get our quarterback, really comfortable to where we play some of these teams. We don't have to depend on our defense. We can get in a shootout, win the football game there, and that's where, hopefully Diggs will help out.
I forgot to mention the Ravens rematch of the divisional round game that for a while there,
hung around.
Texans might win this game.
Yeah.
Going into halftime,
right.
Texans might win this game, and credit to the Ravens for whatever happened. Remember, Lamar Jackson said there were some curse words said in the locker room that got that win for the Baltimore Ravens. But the Texans are right there. I mean, think about it. On the day that the Cowboys got blown out at home by the Packers, one day before that, was it the one day before that or that same day? It was that same day, wasn't it?
I think it was that same day.
The Texans blew out the Browns.
Right.
Blew out the Browns. It was the Texans game leading into the Cowboys game. Texans blew out the Browns. Cowboys got blown out by the Packers. Texans right now are the better team in Dallas. Or in Houston. Or in Texas.
Yeah.
One of the three. In Austin. Texas is the better team in Austin.
Hey, I hear you there. I hear you there. They're looking on the up and up. And, and then again, that's where you look at Stefon Diggs and, hey, smart place to go and be a part of and get on that football team, right? I think, back to the Buffalo conversation with Brandon Beane a little bit, yeah, I think it was a mutual parting of both ways, right? I think Stefon Diggs, from what I've been led to believe, wanted out of there. Buffalo was done with it as well. Adisa Bakari he's a great agent. He's respected around the league. He wants them to do right by his player. He's trying to do right by teams, like you said. and they got him to a spot there, right, where, I mean, it's prime for Stefon Diggs to have a big season. They don't have that type of guy. Tank Dell, we'll see how healthy he is to start the year. Nico Collins is kind of the deeper, big play threat, right? But now they got the route runner underneath, and in the intermediate part where, again, a guy like the damn offensive coordinator for the Texans, I'm just blanked on his name.
Bobby Slowick.
Sorry, excuse me.
Fine.
He is a guy, again, from the Shanahan system that understands, hey, wait, if I get a guy that runs routes, I can really use him in certain ways to attack certain coverages and leverages, and I have all these plays and route combinations that are going to benefit him. So Diggs is in a place, not only great quarterback, I think schematically it's going to fit him, and then he's got a GM in Nick Caserio that I know when he was the acting GM in New England, loves Stefon Diggs. The Patriots had Diggs on their radar big time when he was coming out in the draft. So now he gets him. He's got complete support in the organization, and maybe that makes Stefon Diggs be the guy we all want him to be and not tweet on social media and interact and be a distraction like we've seen him be. And maybe this gets him on the straight and narrow totally here.
And they get him for $18.55 million this year, which, as high-end receivers go, even if he's no longer a short-list superstar, he's being paid commensurate with where he is. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.